Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Tuesday show. Today we are back on the WWF Wrestling Superstars Series 5, Part 2. So last week we did look at the first 7 figures from the line. Now, again, I did say back in the first video that with Series 5, the 1988 release, there were 12 characters, but 14 figures. So last video, we actually looked at 6 characters, but 7 figures. We do look at the Hulk Hogan, both white shirt and red shirt. Yes, 1 character, but I do classify them as 2 figures, right? Same exact character, same figure, but there's enough of a change to that figure where I do classify it as 2 figures. In this video, same exact thing with the referee. Same character, same exact figure, same pose, everything 100% identical, but there's enough of a change to the figure where I do break it down as its own figure. SD Jones, as I've said a million times, in Series 3, red shirt SD Jones, yellow shirt SD Jones. There is enough of a change to that figure where I say it's its own unique figure. Now, when we go back and we look at the 3 faces of Corporal Kirchner, clean shaven, stubble version, bearded version, that to me is not enough of a change. Some people might argue differently. No, I feel like no. That is a very subtle change, but it's not enough of a change. If it was like BDU colored scheme, Corporal Kirchner, so let's say they went from like Army colored scheme to like Marine colored scheme or Air Force color scheme, for example, that right there would make a whole different color scheme. You know, if they went from like woodland camouflage to like desert camouflage, that to me is a different figure, right? That would be its own unique character, its own unique figure. But so again, with Series 5, again, you're looking at some of the most expensive figures in the line, and pretty much any of the figures we're looking at today, Series 5 in general, pretty much any figure. Oh, sorry. I just got this message in one of my very recent videos. Figure. Uh, I just thought it was funny. Because I talk fast, so I don't over enunciate my words. I say it really fast, so I say figure, and I don't really enunciate the words. So I just kind of find it funny that somebody was complaining about that. uh, yeah. Anyways, I'll actually talk about that in my video. Actually, when I actually post this video, it's actually going to be after my Saturday live show, so I'll actually probably be talking about it um, in that live show. Today is actually Friday, the day of filming, so I'm filming this video ahead of schedule, of course. So if you guys get annoyed by that, sorry. Um, I don't always enunciate the words. It's like in the army, and I'll talk about this during the live show too. You're so used to saying words like private or sergeant. You're so used to like speaking fast, so you stop enunciating words, so it doesn't become private anymore. It becomes private. Sergeant becomes sarnt. So it's just kind of funny that the guy was kind of mocking me because I say figure instead of figure. uh, anyways, I just kind of got a laugh out of that. Um, anyways, let's kind of dig into the first figure for today's video. All right, I'll stop now. Manager Slick. So Slick has a little bit of a conundrum for me because aesthetically he has one of the better looking figures. I love his 3-piece suit right here. This is pretty freaking awesome. But he also freaking reminds me of the Boondocks, like the pimp named Slipback. Okay. And so when I look at this figure, it makes me like crazy excited in that respect. But he's also kind of like an Elizabeth figure in essence. He's a ultra small, ultra thin figure. So in that capacity, I could technically put Slick in my top 10 list of least favorite figures. But I don't because, from an aesthetic standpoint, this is a fantastic looking piece. You know, play pose isn't all that great. He's kind of like a Jake Roberts. And Jake Roberts is one of my all time favorite wrestlers. If Jake Roberts isn't in my top 10, he's got to be top 12, top 15 at least of favorite wrestlers ever. But, you know, an absolute true legend. But his LJN figure sucks because this is Jake Roberts. When holding the snake, it makes sense, but his play pose is horrible. Open hands, kind of like so, it's stupid. So, open hands like so, not exactly the best. You know, very thin. I mean, I like the big bulky figures, right? So, as something that you never have to worry about falling off the card, this is perfectly fine. The slick figure or the Elizabeth figure on card, you want those figures that are never going to come off the card. It's a nice piece to have. Nice crisp bubble always. I hardly ever see those figures on card where the bubble's like yellowing or like there's big major dents or anything like that. Like I said, they're lightweight figures. So you're not really ever looking at bubble damage on those figures. So that's something for a collector to consider. If you're just looking at select few figures that you want for your collection, these are something that you might want to pick up. On card, they're probably going to go for a few $100s, about 350, $400. So it depends on what kind of money you're looking to spend on a piece of LJN history. So a relatively minty slick figure can go for roughly 60 to $75. Now with accessory, you're probably looking at north of $100 easy. Now, original accessory alone could potentially net you anywhere between $30 to $50. You could go somewhere to like Random Treasures as an example and could pick up the accessory for about $20. Yeah, a good accessory, even custom, $20. So, could I mean, does it really make a difference whether the person's got a custom accessory or an original? There's so many high quality customs out there that you look at them a lot, especially the hats. When it comes to like when it comes to like Outback Jack, or if you're looking at Slick, I'm looking at the shelves here. Even Hillbilly Jim, some basically any of your figures that come with the hat accessories, those are fine. Bob Orton, I think I've seen a couple really bad Bob Orton hats, but I mean some people do really good jobs. I think Ram Treasures does a really good job with their Bob Orton hat, but the Canes, some people do really good with the job with the Canes, others not so much. It's like the Hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4 with the Hasbros. The has they look good when you first get them in, right? But then you put them in the hand and they just slide right out because they're so super small and thin. I'm like, they don't do a good job with the 3D printing or whatever it is that they use. So, but you get yourself an original, pay $50, 60, whatever, or go to like Round Treasure or someone get it for like $20. So I mean, make your choice. It doesn't really matter. But like with many Series 5 figures, because this is a mostly gray figure, right? What are you going to find when this has paint loss or paint bleed? He's going to have a lot of paint, of gray paint on the fingertips, on the knuckles, on his face, on his nose. You're going to find it in the hair. So a lot of time, yes, You're gonna find it on the shoes, on the hair. You're gonna find all that gray paint bleed through the figure, and it's so annoying. So when you find yourself a really good condition slick, you're gonna have to pay up for it. Like I said, $60+ a lot of time. Someone like myself, again, I don't have. I talk about it all the time. I don't have the most followers in the world on my eBay, right? So, if I put this up for auction, let's say starting bid $30, chances are, if it sells, I'm only gonna have one buyer or one bid, and it's gonna sell for $30, which is a waste because at $30, I might as well just hold on to it because this is more than a $30 figure. Even with significant paint loss, I still think that this is a good $50 figure. So any Series 5 figure minus probably Johnny Valiant. I think he's probably the only one that's you can probably give a little bit of a toss up, but mint Johnny Valiant on the right seller's page, even that figure is going to go for north of $100. Flick, awesome piece nonetheless. Now, definitely one of the best figures of LJN. Only downside, you guessed it, play pose. It is the one man gang. Of course, managed by Slick, and later on would be a member of the Twin Towers. So there are some dents in this bubble. Looks like there's like a small hole here. Yeah, I got another hole up here. I'm noticing. And there's a lot of holes in the bubble. I mean, I'm pretty sure I noticed this stuff when I first got it, but even with all of these holes and discrepancies, I'm wondering how much I paid for this. I probably paid like $400. Probably not. Actually, I don't know. I'm thinking I might have actually got this for cheaper. I might have actually got this for like in the 200 something range. Because if I recall correctly, I think this was an auction, and I think I won this on auction. It may have sold for like 200 something, 230, 260, something like that. You know what? That I think that's what happened. And I think I won this on auction. I think it was like two something, maybe three something. I don't know. But point is, you see one man gang selling, and it's like an $800 figure mint on card. So if I win it for like two something, three something, even with this discrepancy, you think, man, you just got to steal the price. Paid immediately, and I waited. 3 days passed. I waited. A week. I waited. 10 days. Waited. 2 weeks. Waited. No updates in the tracker. The seller would not ship the item. I knew what he was doing. Simply put, the item sold for a price that the guy did not get what he wanted for it. I mean, it's pretty obvious, you know. These one man gang, $800, 900, $1,200. I mean, you look at eBay, that's exactly what a one man gang mint on card was selling for. So you see auction and you see a figure go for like $300. You don't want to lose that kind of profit. That's insanity. So after about 2 weeks, this guy's probably thinking, hey, no communication. I haven't shipped the item yet. This guy's going to request me to cancel it. But me, uh-uh. Dude, I don't care if it takes 2 months. I'm going to sit on that until you freaking ship the item. After about 3 weeks, I think he realized that I wasn't going to back down. And then he finally decided to do the right thing and then ship it out. So uh, after about almost a month or so, I finally got my figure in. And when you look at, like I said, the discrepancies that I see here, it makes sense why it's sold for so little. If you call that little, I mean, $5 to me is a lot of money. So you spend a few $100. I mean, you're paying out of your comfort zone, no matter how much you or how often you pay up for those type of balances. So, but this to me is an ideal figure on almost every level, but one, and that's this right here. It has everything I'm looking for, but the stupid play pose. And everybody that everyone has watched my videos forever. That I'm not saying anything that they don't already know about me. But someone that watches my videos for the first time is like, dude, shut the hell up. Who cares? You're a collector. It's display only. You're not sitting down wrestling these guys. Who gives a rat's ass about play pose? It doesn't matter if I'm wrestling them or not. It's I still go back to childhood, right? I still go back to that old mentality of my mindset. I still like an action figure to be in a playable pose. And the thing is, I'm not alone. I think 90% of us that collect still want these guys to be in roughly the same aesthetic, same sort of pose, regardless. He's got a fantastic look, great bulk size to it, right? Awesome grip. Love the grip of this figure. Stance is incredible. I mean, if this was put this in a Series 1 Hulk Hogan fighting pose, again, this is a top 10 best action figure. This is neck and neck with a big boss man. This is a killer figure. One man gang, we're not even talking a mint figure. We're talking about an absolute beater. Uh, Imagine if like 30% or more of his face was like completely blackened and his hands were all black, right? A lot of paint loss on his jacket or paint blade, all pretty much all black here, right? Just completely jacked up figure. This is still like a $60 to $75 figure. And what was the last figure we looked at? I think Hacksaw Jim Duggan was probably one I talked about in the past, where I said that it doesn't matter if it's in good condition or not. It could be a completely destroyed figure, not destroyed in the sense that it's got like holes in it and fingers are cut off or anything like that. Aesthetics, color wise, as long as it's got good rubber, it will still sell for a pretty hefty price. I remember I bought a one man gang along with a bunch of other figures from Canada, and I got it for about $120. And I sold a bunch of those figures, and one of the figures in that bundle was a one man gang. But it looked like somebody took a BB gun and shot him in the stomach or chest a bunch of times. So he had some holes in the stomach and like out the back, probably like 3 or 4 holes. And I listed him on eBay a few times. And I didn't list it from like a super high price, maybe like 35, $36. And I think like each week I came down in price. Maybe like I think eventually I sold them for like $33 or something. If I could go back, I would change that. I probably wouldn't sell that figure at all. Even with the holes, I'd rather have a pretty beat up one man gang with holes in his chest than to take that $33. Because even with eBay selling fees, that's like what, $27 or so, $25 in profit. No, it probably wasn't worth it. I'd rather have the figure. Um, the last one man gang extra that I had, I sent to my buddy Rob, and he is going to customize the figure for me, turn it into Akeem. So yeah, I probably sent that figure to him last year, but you guys know, man, I send that man like a million boxes of a gazillion figures. So um, hopefully at some point this year, I'm gonna get some more boxes back, and that's gonna be one of those figures, hopefully, and that's gonna be crazy. I'm really excited about getting that one back. But one man gang as a loose figure in excellent condition. 125 dollars for a good figure. I mean, even in this play pose, Ken Patera, kind of same thing. Because they're good size figures, good bulk, good girth to them and everything. I would still say if you're a kid, hell, even if you're an adult who are wrestling these, it's still enjoyable playable figures regardless. And one man gang, shoot, you see him in the late '80s. I mean, the guy is pushing 7 feet tall, right? He's got to be a good 6'10", maybe. But we always talk about Yokozuna at like 505 pounds when he came into WWF. Later on when he's up there like 550, 625, 650 pounds, you talk about like Earthquake was probably like 485 or King Kong Bundy was like 450. I mean, even One Man Gang was pushing 500 pounds himself. He doesn't get a lot of credit as being one of those big, giant, heavy guys. But you see him nowadays, like he has dropped so much freaking weight. He's still he's still giant. He's still almost 7 feet tall. So he's probably still a good 300 some pounds. So you think, okay, that's still up there in weight. But going from almost 500 something pounds to 300, massive drop in weight. And considering you're 6 feet 10, 7 feet tall, let's round it off, call it 7 feet. That's. The man looks good. He looks amazing. So One Man Gang, definitely one of the highlight pieces of the LJN collection, no doubt. Next up, we've got Rick Martel. So Rick Martel is one of. Actually, he is the only character. He's the only character to have 3 straight toy lines to create an action figure in his likeness. So he went from having his own AWA Remco figure to having his own WWF and Super Wrestling Superstar to having his own WWF Hasbro figure. Now, if the AWA Remcos were still running in conjunction with the LJNs, so I think the AWA Remcos ended in like 87, 88. So let's say Remco's and let's say Remco's and LJN both ended in 89. If they both ended in 89, then you could say, okay, because they both ended at the exact same time, you could say Ric Flair was AWA Remco, and then he was WCW Galoob, and then he was WWF Hasbro. Then you could say those two were, 3 straight toy lines. That would have been fine. But since Remco already ended, you can't include him. See, I'm so stupid, man. When I was doing my review, my comparisons, my top 10 favorites, my 11 through 20 favorites. At one point, if you remember, in my back of the room, I used to have my loose figures displayed on my DVD shelf, right? And I used to have the figures kind of stored like this. So for some reason, like all I saw was Tito Santana on the shelf, and Rick Martel was kind of like hidden behind him a little bit, so I didn't see the figure. So I kind of overlooked him. So when I was doing my 11 through 20, Rick Martel didn't make a top 20 list, which we all know Rick Martel really is a top 20 best figure. And like I have Series 5 Hulk Hogan in the top 20. Is that top 20 best? Probably not. But I think I put him on there because of the commemorative piece. I like the bulkness. I like the look of the figure overall. But Rick Martel is a fantastic aesthetic figure. Awesome play pose. So, truly an awesome piece. And his loose figure. Now, obviously, when it comes to Strike Force, yes, just like the British Bulldogs, which is very rare. all of these tag teams. British Bulldog. Well, actually, you could consider Hogan and Hillbilly Jim. You could consider Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov as well. But the Bulldogs, Strike Force, Killer Bees, and the Heart Foundation, all of these characters that came in 2 packs, you see them in individual card as well, right? So far, among all of these tag teams, only Davey Boy Smith on single card is the only one on single piece that I'm missing. But all of the others I have on single card. And tag team wise, I have Nikolai and the Iron Sheik. I have the Bulldogs, and what's the third one? I have 3 of them: Hogan and Hillbilly, Nikolai and Volkov, and I have the Bulldogs. So I have those 3. These championship belts, the Brown Championship Tag Team belts, this is actually incorrect. So on the in the 2 pack of the Bulldog of the Strike Force, it's actually these belts. So if you actually feel these belts, they're like a sort of like hard plastic. Now this one I actually think goes to Hogan, maybe, possibly. Actually, I don't even know. I think this is Hogan. Actually, this might be the Strike Force. I don't have the 2 pack, so I'm not really sure. This is a double notch belt. So when you actually look at the carded figures of the white shirt and red shirt Hogan, they both have the black belt, right? And Strike Force on 2 pack also come with black championship belts. But let me wrap this around the waist because you would think that the bigger figure. All right, so my very awesome computer just shut off at 27 plus minutes. So I am hoping that I am able to combine these 2 videos into one. Otherwise, I just wasted my time and I'm just going to waste my time filming the second part, but hopefully not. All right, so the 2 latches on Rick Martel look like it's nice and tight around his waist, at least relatively tight. I mean, not super firm. I think the 2 latches go to Rick Martel. Hopefully, someone out there, if I'm wrong, can correct me. But I think 1 latch black belt goes around the Series 5 Hulk Hogan's, and the 2 latches are for Strike Force. And I think the copper, though, I think copper is for Strike Force. And I think like the silver is for the Hogan's. But this doesn't look like either copper or silver. But it's definitely an original belt. There's no doubt about it. With the sort of hard plastic or plastic feel. So, but anyways, back to the review. Strike Force does come with the little emblems, the lightning bolts on the figure. So when you do purchase the Strike Force tag team as one set, these figures can go up to $150 for a tag team, and they don't even have to be in pristine condition. As you can see, I mean, this isn't the most perfect mint figure ever, but it's in relatively solid condition. I mean, it does have, as you can see, some paint loss. Occasionally, Rick Martel will have a missing finger. Even so, even with the missing finger, he's probably still going to be a good $50 to $60 figure, even as high as 75. We're talking missing finger is still a $75 figure. That's how valuable a Strike Force Rick Martel can be. So if you're saying $150 for the pair, yeah, it's easy to see $75 for each of the 2 figures, either Tito or Rick Martel. But generally, I will say that Rick Martel is the more valuable of the two figures, and of course, with the much better play pose. Now, yeah, I got it. His figure is roughly the same as Tito Santana, but the difference between him and Tito Santana is at least his arms are up, where Tito, his arms are down. So I hate that. That's what makes Tito Santana such a bad figure in comparison. You know, hands up versus down. It makes a world of difference, okay? I mean, but arms spread apart, same as Tito, but still a top 20 best figure versus a top 10 worst figure. Overall, great looking figure. And now that I've removed the brown championship tag team belt, now I gotta find another character to put this on. And of course, it just doesn't look right with the black and brown. So now I gotta get on eBay and find a replacement for this. But I have to find an original. And these original belts on eBay, I've only seen Move Over Swanson sell them, and they go for around $30 to $40 on eBay on auction. So shoot, I don't know if I want to pay another $40 with purchase and shipping and taxes. So I don't know. All right, next one up is tag team partner Tito Santana. Think about this, man. I don't even covet Tito Santana. This was a mortgage payment for me. I got this from my cardio, and I think he allowed me to like pay him an installment plan. So I think that really helped me a lot. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. When you get onto like Mercari and eBay and stuff like that, right? This is what I'm talking about: building relationships and trying to buy from the same sellers. Because when you build those rapport with people, you build that friendship, you build that trust. You're able to do things like that. Like, hey man, you're asking for a certain price. I can't pay you all that all at one time. Can I pay you little by little? So what I did is like every time I got paid, send him X amount of money. I trust him. He holds on to the figure. I send him the money. Bam. When it's paid off, box it up, send it to me. I'm pretty sure if like I say, hey, here's $500, he can send it to me and I'll pay him that every now and then. I'm pretty sure if I asked him if he could do that, I'm sure he trusts me enough where he would do that. But no, I wasn't gonna put him in that position. So he's done right by me, and I've gotten so many great collectibles from him. So between the two mics, Mikey Mojo and MJ30, my cardio, I mean off of eBay, man. Those guys have been amazing. Some of my highlight pieces have come from those guys. So like I said, man, Tito Santana, not one of my favorite wrestlers. Definitely not one of my favorite LGNs. But you know how difficult it is to find an MOC Tito Santana Strike Force. So for this collection, not necessarily a holy grail, but it's got to be considered a grail piece because of the rarity. And in this condition, this is something that's going to hold its value. So 10 years from now, 30 years from now, yes, I kind of look at this. I look at that purple skirt Elizabeth. I feel like those are investments that are going to hold up over time. So Tio Santana, beautiful. And like I said, this isn't graded, but it should be. It's that solid of a piece. Tito Santana. So sometimes when you get on like eBay or whatnot and you're bidding on these guys, you gotta really pay attention to the tagging of their trunks and boots because they will not always have the emblems on the side of their outfits, right? So sometimes that will be faded off. If you want the most complete figure, definitely make sure you get that. Now, if you're just looking for a figure for part of your collection and you don't care about all that, definitely go for that, especially if it's cheaper. Like like Hasbro, right? If you want to get yourself a Hasbro Series 9 $1 million man, but you want to get like a $30 $1 million man that uh doesn't have the dollar signs on his trunks and boots on both sides, fine. But if you want the dollar signs on both the trunks on and the boots on both sides, you're probably gonna pay up like $60 to $75 for that figure, right? So you kind of gotta treat it the same way with Strike Force. You could probably get these figures for around $40 or $50, but if you want to get the more complete figure with the added graphics, it's going to cost you a little bit more. So a figure like this, again, probably about $75 individually. So when you get on eBay, $50 to $75 for the figures, $100 to $150 generally for the tag team set. So they always balance out, whether you're purchasing them individually or as a tag team set. Exact same figure they got in Series 3 with the purple trunks. But purple trunks is like a $10 figure. 20 if he's a minty figure for the right buyer. But I look at Series 3 as like a $10 figure. And this is like anywhere between 5 to 10 times the price. And just because he's a Series 5 and in white. So crazy. Oh yeah. You slap on original tag team belts. Original tag team belts with these guys, you're probably looking at about $300. Insane. Ugh. Tito Santana, man. Why is it every single time I try to watch WrestleMania? This is what's insane. I tried to watch WrestleMania 8. I don't know why I selected WrestleMania 8, probably because it was just the first thing I pulled out. Tito Santana, El Matador taking on Shawn Michaels. I think I only made like through like 45 minutes of that WrestleMania. I'm like, nah, I'm done. Months later, I decided everybody's talking about how amazing WrestleMania 1 was. I'm like, okay, fine. So I pulled out WrestleMania 1, popped it in. Again, probably made it through like 45 minutes of WrestleMania 1. Just got so freaking bored with it. I'm like, this isn't good. This sucks. uh, for a first attempt at a WrestleMania, I get it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people loved it, but I was so freaking bored. WrestleMania 1 was not good. Now, the big matches I actually wanted to watch, like Andre versus Stud, stuff like that, maybe. Um, I just wasn't having it. But like the very first match I saw was like what was it called? The Executioner versus Tito Santana. Like, why is Tito Santana always the first matchup in all of these WrestleManias? I also come to find out that Tito Santana is actually the winningest wrestler in WWF history. I'm like, man, that is insane. Think about all your greats between Hogan and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and like all these major workers, but Tito Santana has the most wins. John Cena and The Rock and Steve Austin. Wow, he was a worker. I will give him credit. He was a freaking worker. I don't know a lot about Rick Martel as Strike Force. I mean, obviously, my I watched the hell out of Rick Martel later on, late '80s into the '90s as the model Rick Martel. Um, Bad guy Rick Martel obviously annoyed the hell out of me, but he was fun. I enjoyed like he was an annoying fun, very cocky, kind of like when you got to the whole sexy boy Shawn Michaels deal type of gimmick. Very cocky Shawn Michaels. For a long time, I wasn't a fan of Shawn Michaels because what he did to Marty and whatnot. But you always kind of reflected on the days of the Rocker. So even then, you still kind of appreciated Shawn Michaels. And even when Shawn Michaels went back and forth, good guy, bad guy, at that point you realize you were a huge fan of Shawn Michaels. So and freaking Rick Martel again, he's another one of those guys. He was a worker, he was a performer, he was an awesome athlete. Rick Martel, he's like right in line with Kurt Hennig. So those guys were like mega champion superstars for AWA, right? And did the same thing. We're mega superstars in WWF. So all right, next one up. And this actually both of these two, these both had to be grill pieces, man. This was an awesome pickup. Now, white shirt referee obviously is the most important, I think, more valuable. And this is such a freaking mint figure, my God. I mean, it's got like a little bit of white, and not really creases, but I mean, it's got something on the edges, but it's solid, man. And what's that store? Can't read the store, but it's got a tag on here of $6.97, and then reduced to $3.97. $4 for this figure back in the day. I didn't pay $4 on this. I didn't pay $4. Um, you'd have to add well, not three zeros. That's whoa, God. Oh God, please do not add three zeros. Um, yeah, I wouldn't pay no three. If you would add three zeros to that, you better add in about three or four more of these guys. um, I like the card backing of this because that is so freaking awesome. I like it because it's unique. It's different than what you get from all the others. And this was got to be one of the newest pickups. This came in a few months ago. I tell you, this when I talk about weights off your shoulder, this is like getting Dusty Rhodes for Hasbro, man. The thing about the Dusty Rhodes is that it was like an open package, so I hated having to pay the money I did, but it completed that collection, and this put me one step closer. Between the Davy Boy figure and the two blue cards, Hogan's, I mean that's it. I'm three figures away now. Individual, not tag teams, of course. Now, most people are going to look at these figures and they're going to be like, they're just generic referees. They're not based off of any particular character that ref in WWF. But I mean, come on, they're identical characters with duplicate or with different shirts, right? So I like to treat these characters as the Hebner twins. This is Series 5. This is 1988. Why would you not treat these as the Hebner twins? It makes perfect sense. So, 1988. What was it? The Saturday show. The main event. So I think like a couple weeks before my third birthday, the main event. I think it was like the first show. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, and Earl Hebner. This is less expensive, so let's say Earl Hebner was refing the match. So Dave Hebner was supposed to be a ref, but they kind of like locked him away or whatever. And Earl Hebner, who was paid off by Ted DiBiase, was your referee of the match. And Andre the Giant had pinned Hogan. Hogan had his shoulder up, but Earl Hebner counted three. Bam. Andre the Giant defeats Hulk Hogan, and Andre the Giant is the new heavyweight champion. Dave Hebner breaks out, runs to ringside, confronts his evil twin brother Earl, and they get into this whole squabble match and whatnot. Hulk Hogan picks up Earl, tosses him out them, tosses him into the aisle, and whatnot. Um, I like the freak out that Hulk Hogan gave to Mean Gene Okerlund afterwards in the interview about how the whole money was falling out of his pocket and everything. I don't actually remember any money coming out of his pocket, at least not to my recollection, but I kind of remember that interview, and I just thought that was freaking awesome. So, I mean, there was obviously storylines that had to be told, right? And they had to start bringing in other wrestlers who had to become that they wanted to put the belt on and become new champions and whatnot. And I think more importantly, there people were obviously over Hulk Hogan. I mean, the man had been heavyweight champion for I don't know what was it, 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row. So I mean, were they over Hulkamania? Probably not, but that's obviously one thing. Also considered 1988, Hulk Hogan was either in the process of or was currently filming No Holds Barred. So No Holds Barred came out in 1989. So he couldn't very well retain heavyweight championship, still be performing his heavyweight duties, and be in the ring and be an actor and filming this movie. So this was Vince McMahon's opportunity to put the belt on someone that he absolutely loved, and he loved Andre the Giant. And even though Andre, at that point in his career, health wise, his back was gone, was destroyed. I mean, I've already talked about it a million times. Andre the Giant was nothing more than a booty bust guy. Get you into the turnbuckle, booty bust you. A headbutt guy, a bear hug guy, a weird freaking punch and slap guy. Like he barely he grabs you like these weird I don't know, my weird side punches and stuff. So he really couldn't do anything at all in the ring anymore. All those years in professional wrestling, I mean, why wasn't this man champion way before then? But and I'm probably gonna talk about this again when we get to Series 6 and start talking about Andre, which is actually next week. But um yeah, and then of course he sold the belt, Andre did, to Ted DiBiase, and that obviously set up WrestleMania 4 and allowed Ted DiBiase to officially lose to Macho Man, who became heavyweight champion. And yeah, again, like I said, I'll talk about this again in the next video when I get to Andre. So, but to me, I like to think of these guys as the Hebner twins, and I like to say that this is Dave Hebner. Dave Hebner has been like a lead referee in the WWF for forever, and Earl Hebner, of course, been a long professional referee as well. And so, even though both referees are very valuable, don't get me wrong, and both referees can easily sell for north of $100. White shirt, I guess, is more rare, more valuable. So, I mean, white shirt can go for a good $150, sometimes even north of 200 if he's a minty figure. I see blue shirt pop up on a lot of Canadian sellers pages a lot. So I mean, you can get this one Canadian seller for a good $75, $100, but you're probably paying another $30 in shipping or something. But I would say good $125 to $250 for either figure, depending on condition or selling. But I mean, if the fingers are bitten off or anything, does that hurt the value? In all honesty, not really. Even with missing digits, this is another one of those figures where massive paint loss, damage to the rubber. It doesn't really cause that much of a hindrance. They're still valuable pieces. This is still money in the bank, regardless of what you have. There are going to be buyers who want these, no matter the damage, because somebody could customize it and or repair the damage. So it's more about getting the actual rubber figures. You could go to Ram Treasures and get yourself a $130 figure, but most people are going to want to pay that $130 for an original, even if it's a beat up figure. So your toss up. I got my pink shirt referee from Ram Treasures, and I still enjoy that one. It gives you a third variant for the collection, so that's nice. And of course, we end Series 5 with the man himself, Ted DiBiase. Now, this one actually is signed by the Million Dollar Man. And this one I actually bought off Mercari. And I think this is probably I think, the only carded figure I bought off Mercari. I don't know. Maybe I bought the Roddy Piper LJN off Mercari, possibly. I don't know. I didn't buy a lot of carded figures off Mercari. If I did, very few. But I know this one definitely came off Mercari, and I paid up for this one because it was signed. And this is what I'm talking about. A lot of figures that I get MOC or new in package from that's of the Million Dollar Man is seems like it's always signed. My LJN Million Dollar Man signed by Ted DiBiase. My Series 9 Hasbro signed by the Million Dollar Man. That Jack's Classic Superstars, where it's like a $1 million belt on the left side, and on the right side, it's like a Jack's figure. I think he's like in a white suit. It's like a rectangular box about this big. That one is signed by him. So I've gotten that's just three of them, but I know I've gotten probably one or two more figures, probably somewhere that's signed by him. So I get a lot of pieces signed by that I buy offline. That's signed by the Million Dollar Man. So, but it was a nice pickup. I think it was worth it. Series 5 figure, mint on card, Ted DiBiase signature. I mean, this is one of my favorite pieces, I would say. And Million Dollar Man is got to be one of my all-time favorite bad guys. So I don't like destroying good figures, right? Um, I think Random Treasures has a rubber mold of Ted DiBiase. I think, and I've been contemplating going through Random Treasures and just getting a mold of Million Dollar Man and nothing else. Reason being, I have seen people take a Million Dollar Man and they've cut off the head and hands and they've turned it into a freaking amazing Freddy Krueger LJN. Now you guys have seen my new LJN custom of Freddy Krueger. That one I got from Sin Bodhi, and but that one was a resin statue, so that one wasn't rubber or anything, right? So, but that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted basically Freddy Krueger with kind of like with this pose. Put a Freddy Krueger head on there, cut off the hand, put the glove with the knives and everything. Probably leave this hand alone, maybe, but turn this into Freddy Krueger. I probably have another Ted DiBiase, so I probably could use one of my spares. But again, this is a good figure. Even if I find one that's absolutely destroyed, somebody can repair that and bring it back to life, customize it, repaint it. So I don't want to do that. Not really. That's why I'm thinking, go to Ram Treasures, use something that they've molded already, and just get it unpainted. That way, since it's my buddy Rob or something, all he has to do is chop off the head and hand and paint it up. That way it's you don't have to do anything with all of this, right? But Million Dollar Man and Virgil, I like Virgil. I like what Virgil turned on Million Dollar Man. After what Million Dollar Man did to that man for years, treating him like a butler, and I'm like, damn. Watching Virgil defeat Ted DiBiase and become $1 million champion, that was so freaking awesome. That didn't last forever, but I would have liked to have seen the $1 million belt become a more stable championship belt in the wrestling World Wrestling Federation. I've always said that the heavyweight, intercontinental, and tag team belts were really only the three belts that I acknowledge. But the $1 million belt's still one of my favorite belts. I just love it. I just love the look of it, the aesthetic of it, and I just think it's one of the coolest things. So you could have made that more of a stable in wrestling. I would have accepted that as well. And I would have loved to have seen Virgil have a long tenured run as the $1 million champion. And you could have made that more of a stable belt, and you could have had people bouncing around with that. It didn't always have to go to the $1 million Man. But I enjoy his figure a lot. I think it's not necessarily flawless, but it's fantastic. Some of the things that I complained about is the extra thick money, wad of money in his hand. But I mean, I think it's necessary because you've got to show the detail of the cash in his hand. I mean, if it was smaller, you wouldn't really be able to see that graphic, see that detail. So I think it's necessary. In the overall look of the figure, it's nice. It's got a good playable, a good fighting pose. It's kind of like a Corporal Kirchner, right? The one hand pose, and this is still serviceable as a one hand fighting pose here. But you know how like Hacksaw Jim Duggan has that one hand, low punch. I mean, at least Million Dollar Man has a little bit higher punch. So this is still a serviceable, playable figure, which is fine. You could work with this. But like many of Series 5 figures, like Bam Bam Bigelow and One Man Gang, uh, trying to think of some of the other black figures, but you're always going to kind of find like, black nose and black marks in the hair or on the knuckles. Same thing with his Hasbro Series 1. You always see black marks on his knuckles and his hand. Like, what's up with it? What's up with $1 million Man always having black stuff on his body? But I have so many $1 million Man customs. So many. It's one of my favorites. There's so many different looks that he has that you gotta get those different customs because you want all of those different looks. Same thing with the Ultimate Warrior. Same thing with Ric Flair. Same thing with Macho Man. There's so many different looks. You kind of want to have all of those different looks for your collection. $1 million Man. I mean, even like in this condition, which isn't great. I mean, this is still, in my opinion, a good $60 figure. But with many of Series 5, almost all of them, they all are. They're all $100 figures. A mint $1 million Man will sell for over $100. Could it go for 125? Absolutely. It's gotta be a mint figure though. But a good condition, which is this is a good condition, not great, but it's good. This should go on auction for a good $60 to $75 with the right seller. So move over Swanson again. He's got over 1,000 followers on his page. He puts this on his page. He gets $75 to $90, maybe even over 100 on this. I put this on my page. I probably get about 25 to 40. So, uh, but again, the right seller, they will definitely get top dollar on this. I mean, this is a very important piece, of course. So, all right. So, that is Series 5. And just to recap, all right. Series 5 included Bam Bam Bigelow, Honky Tonk Man, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Axe, White Shirt Hulk Hogan, Red Shirt Hulk Hogan, and Johnny Valiant. That we saw that in Series 5 Part 1. Here in Series 5 Part 2, Slick, One Man Gang, Rick Martel, Tito Santana, white shirt referee, blue shirt referee, and the $1 Million Man. So next week we will officially close out the LJN Wrestling Superstars with Series 6. And that is going to include the Andre the Giant figure, Big Boss Man, Haku, Rick Rude, Ultimate Warrior, and Warlord. But we will also look at some of the re-releases. Now, the one thing I didn't say here in Series 5 is that technically Adrian Adonis. Yes, Adrian Adonis. We looked at him in Series 4 because in 1987, Adrian Adonis did get his first initial release. But he was released from the WWF later on in the year. And he bounced around, as I mentioned, during the Series 4 reviews. Indie circuit. I think he went back to AWA. And in 1988, he was in a car accident and died. So in 1988, he was re-released in Series 5. Same figure, same blue card. And I think that's why a lot of time when you get an Adrian Adonis and you see on the back of the blue card, you see a Hulk Hogan bio card. A lot of people think that's error card, and I kind of talked about it previously. I don't think it's an error card. I just think they had way too many Hulk Hogan bio cards, and they just wanted to re-release Adrian Adonis as kind of like a commemorative type of deal, and they just slapped it on the Hulk Hogan because they wanted to get rid of those bio cards or something. That's my personal belief. So his initial release was in '87 in Series 4, but he did get a re-release on the same blue card, same figure in Series 5. Now in Series 6, yes, that same figure was re-released a third time on black card. A lot of people think that it was that a lot of time people think it's a custom because they see Hulk Hogan. They see Hulk Hogan at the top of the front of the card, and they flip it over. They see Hulk Hogan bio card. It's not a custom. That's the same. It's the same commemorative piece that you see on the Hulk Hogan cards, and only Hulk Hogan and Adrian Adonis have that on their black cards. No other wrestler has it on theirs. But we'll discuss that when we get into the Series 6. So we'll look at the few additional re-releases that I do have. We'll look at the 6 new figures added to the roster, and that'll close out Series 6 and the LJN Wrestling Superstars. The following week, we will look at all of the random treasure figures that were on the back of the Series 6 cards that were never released. So that will be its own special video. The week after that, if I have them available, I want to look at all the prototypes and all of the variants. Yes, the variants were looked at during these reviews, but I do want to make a special review video just reflecting on just the variants again. Prototypes, I really hope to have all the figures that I really want, but if not, I'm going to try to make that video as complete as possible. If I don't have any prototypes in that particular video, I will show them off at some point in a later video. So if I'm doing a thumb wrestler review video, if I'm doing a wrestling ring and 16-inch figure review video, if I'm doing LJN NES video game review video, etc., and I get the prototype figures in, I will show that figure off for you guys in that review. I just want to make these LJN videos as complete as possible so that you guys have a full grasp of everything that kind of what LJN produced. But there's like a million things that LJN came out with, so I I'm nowhere near complete with everything. But I'm trying to get as much as possible for you guys. And like I said, once we finish off LJN, I mean, I'm still thinking that there's about another 5 or 6 weeks at least of videos. So um, maybe not that many, but I'm going to say about 5 or 6 weeks, just to spitball a number. Once we're done with that, we're gonna jump into AW Rumpkos. That should take about 5 weeks, I'm gonna say. And after that, I'll probably do a poll on my YouTube community page, maybe Facebook page. Oh, if you haven't done so already, my Kamala short video, I put up a link to my Facebook page. Send me a friend request because if you guys don't see my community notes, sometimes I put up like, "Hey, I'm going live this week," whatnot. If you guys don't see that, I also put it on my Facebook page, or I either put other information on my Facebook page for you guys, so that it kind of gives you updates of what's happening or what's to be expected. So that way you guys are up to date as much as possible. So, or if I post a 3 minute short video and maybe YouTube blocks the music, or maybe I'm only able to post a 60-second short or something, right? Go to that Facebook page. You can watch the whole 3 minute short as opposed to the 60-second short or something like that, right? So uh, send me a friend request, and you guys will have more access to the videos you like and so on. So definitely recommend that, guys. Um, After AWRM goes, I would love to do the WCW Gloobs next. Gloobs should be very short, probably 3 or 4 videos, but I'm going to leave that open. I'll take a poll, see what you guys want. You want WCW Gloobs, WCW Original San Francisco Toymakers? Do you want something else? Do you want something more modern? Grapplers and Gimmicks, Zombie Sailors, Mattel Superstars. I'll let you guys choose what you like. All right. That's it for now, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to go upstairs and hopefully I'm able to merge these two videos together. Because if not, I'm going to be so disappointed. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you in a little bit.